Don't forget that we have been discussing about application of derivative, chapter 2, grade 12 mathematics based on the new curriculum. So in the previous video, we have discussed about increasing and decreasing functions. What do we mean by increasing function means? What do we mean by decreasing function means? And using that the increasing and decreasing test, how could we find the interval of decreasing and the interval of decreasing, or the interval where the function is increasing and where the function is what? Decreasing. This is what we have discussed in the previous video. Today we are going to discuss about critical numbers. Critical numbers. So what are critical numbers? What are critical numbers? These critical numbers are important to find the maximum and minimum values of a function and other related concepts. So let's define the definition behind this. Look, let a number C is the member of the domain of f of x. Let the number C be in the domain of the function. Anka domain and the whole quarter was certain, which is what you call it is C. Now look, if either first derivative at this C is equal to 0, first derivative action function derivative ካርገን በኋላ c ስናስገባ 0 የሚሰጥ ከሆነ, or first derivative at c doesn't exist, that means f has no derivative at c ማለት. If the first derivative at c doesn't exist, that means f has no derivative at c. First derivative action 0 kahona at c, or first derivative at c doesn't exist kahona, then this c is called, then the number c is called the critical number of what? F of x. A critical number of f of x. So the number c is called critical number if either f first derivative at c is 0 or first derivative at c is undefined. That means f has no derivative at a number c. So the function action c ላይ የፈንክሽናችን derivative c ላይ 0 ከሆነ ወይም first derivative at c doesn't exist, that means f has no derivative at c ከሆነ, then the number c is called what? Critical number. So let's do examples. Find the critical numbers. Find the critical numbers for the following functions. For the following what? Functions. The first one is, of course, these examples are from your textbook, to say, for example, x cubed plus 6x squared. Our critical number ማለት ልብ አድርጉት. The solution is here. Either first derivative at c is equal to 0 or first derivative at c doesn't exist ማለት ነው. Okay? ከሁለት አንዱ ነው የምንፈልገው. first derivative አችን 0 የሚያደርግ ወይም ደግሞ first derivative አችንን doesn't exist የሚያደርገውን ነው የምንፈልገው. So first derivative action, let's find the first derivative. The first derivative of this function is what? X cubed. The derivative of x cubed is 3x squared plus the derivative of 6x squared is what? Easy guy metal, okay? So which is 12x. So since it's domain, look, the domain of this first derivative is what? It's quadratic function. Our first derivative action quadratic function. Domain or real number. So let's say first derivative doesn't exist. የሚያደርግ የሲዋጋ የለም. ደግሞአለው. First derivative action quadratic function. You know that the domain of quadratic function is all real number. So the first derivative action doesn't exist የሚያደርግ የሲዋጋ የለም. ስለዚህ የትኛው ነው የምንጠቀመው? First derivative 0 የሚያደርጉ የሲዋጋዎችን እንፈልጋለን. So first derivative at c is equal to at x is equal to 0. So first derivative action 0 የሚያደርጉ የሲዋጋዎችን እንፈልጋለን ማለት ነው. So which implies what? Which implies then the first derivative is 3x squared. 3x squared plus 12x is equal to what? 0. That means 3c squared plus 12c is equal to 0 ማለት, which implies what's common? 3 is common, c is common, so 3c is common. እዚህ ጋር ምን ይቀራል? c plus እዚህ ጋር ከ12 ላይ 3 ኮመን ሲወጣ 4 ይቀራል so which is 0 so automatically to be the product of this 3c and c plus 4 0 so one of the expression must be 0 that means either 3c is equal to 0 መሆን አለበት or c plus 4 is equal to what 0 so over 3 so the value of c is here is 0 or what c is equal to negative 4 so the critical numbers are what therefore 0 and negative 4 are what the critical numbers so let's do the second example f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 9x squared minus 24x this is also one of the exercise from your textbook good so let's find the solution is what our objective is to find the critical numbers so first derivative of this function is what derivative of this one is 6x squared plus the derivative of this one is 18x derivative of this one is 24 this is a derivative of the function okay now so if you take this 6 common so this first derivative is what still this is a quadratic function then its domain is a set of all real numbers there is no c at which first derivative doesn't exist ሁለት አሁንም second derivative first derivative quadratic function ስለሆነ you know that the domain of quadratic function is all real number so there is no c that makes this first derivative doesn't exist እሺ ዋጋ አሁን የለንም ማለት ነው so first derivative 0 የሚያደርግ ነው የምንፈልገው first derivative equal to what 0 የሚያደርግ ቁጥሮች ነው የምንፈልገው አሁን ምንድነው የምታደርጉት first derivative solve of course life might not be smooth like this always here life is smooth because the first derivative of the function is quadratic function ስለሆነ አንዳንዴ first derivative አችን quadratic ላይሆን ይችላል ሌሎች rational function or radical function ሊሆን ስለሚችል ጥንቃቄ ይፈልጋል let's do an example sometimes such types of functions involving radicals 8x times radical of 1 minus x of course it is from a problem from your exercise all right so if you have been given the function 8x times radical of 1 minus x squared then find its criticals so let's find the third example of course so let's find its first derivative ምንድነው የሚሆነው look product rule እንጠቀማለን እዚህ ጋር ደግሞ ለዚህኛው chain rule radicals አሁን ልባርጉ ባለፈ ዲስከስ ያደረግናቸው በሙሉ መያዝ መቻል አለባቸው እንደዚህ ውስጥ ገብተው ይመጣል right so be take care of that so the derivative of 8x is አሁን ይሄን እንደ f ይሄን እንደ g ትወስዳለች so f derivative g plus f times g derivative ማለት ነው our f is 8x derivative of 8x is 8 times g our g is 1 minus x squared plus f 8x times the derivative of this radical of 1 minus x squared this is 1 over 2 times radical of 1 minus x squared times the derivative everything inside the radical right so the derivative of 1 minus x squared is what the derivative of 1 minus x squared is negative 2x how ልባርጉ እዛው ጋር ያለ ነው የሰራሁት ለምን እነዛ ከስር ዲስከስ ያደረግናቸው ዴሪቬቲቮች በሙሉ መያዝ እንዳለባችሁ ለማረጋገጥ ነው ራይት ስለዚህ መያዝ ካልያዛችሁ ለየብቻ ልትሰሩ ነው ሶ ለዚህኛው ብቻ ወደ 20 ደቂቃ 15 ደቂቃ ሊያስፈልጋችሁ ነው ማለት otherwise ግን እንደዛም በቃል ከያዛችሁ very simple okay so አሁን የኛው radical chain rule እንጠቀም ነው okay so this is 8x times radical of 1 minus x squared plus እሺ 2 በዚህ ይጣፋል 8 አለ x አለ x times x is x squared negative አለ so negative 8x squared over what radical of 1 minus x squared over 1 አለ so let's observe the denominator is radical of 1 minus x squared so rather radical of 1 minus x squared radical of 1 minus x squared divided by 1 is 1 1 times radical of 1 minus x squared is radical ይጣፋና 1 minus x squared so 8 into 1 minus x squared ይቀራል አዩ ደግሞ አለው radical of 1 minus x squared divided by 1 is radical of 1 minus x squared times radical of 1 minus x squared is radical ይጣፋና አንድ ይቀራል so which is radical of 1 minus x squared divided by radical of 1 minus x squared is 1. 1 times 8x squared is 8x squared. So that first derivative will be common እዚህ ጋር ምን አለን 8 አለን 8 common ታወጡና so 1 minus x squared minus what x squared ይሆናል over of course radical of 1 minus x squared. So that first derivative will be what 8 into this is 1 minus x squared is 2x squared over what radical of 1 minus x squared ይሆናል. So አሁን ምንድነው የምናደርገው ሁለት ነገር ነው የምንፈልገው. So we need to find the value of c such that f derivative at c is equal to 0 or f derivative at c doesn't exist ማለት ነው. First derivative at c exist የማያደርግና first derivative at c 0 የሚያደርግ ቁጥሮችን እንፈልጋለን. These numbers are called what? Critical numbers of the given. So our first derivative is what? Look, our first derivative is 8 into 1 minus 2x squared. Radical of አሁን መጀመሪያ first derivative ዶሜን እንፈልግ. First derivative doesn't exist ማለት first derivative undefined የሚያደርጉ x ዋጋዎች ማለት ነው. So if you look at the expression here, radical of 1 minus x squared, radical of 1 minus x squared, it should never be equal to 0 መሆን የለበትም. Radical of that means the denominator part, radical of 1 minus x squared 0 ሆነ ማለት first derivative undefined ሆነ ማለት ነው. So this should never be 0. So first derivative doesn't exist የሚያደርጉት that means radical of 1 minus x squared 0 የሚያደርጉ ቁጥሮች ከስር ዲኖሚኔተሩ 0 የሚያደርጉት እናስወግዳለን. So these are squaring both sides. 1 minus x squared is equal to 0. So negative x squared is equal to negative 1. So negative by negative ይጣፋል. So x equal to plus or minus of what? 1. Radical of 1 yeah 1. These are አሁን when the value of x is 1 and negative 1, first derivative doesn't exist. ወይም undefined ነው ማለት ነው. አንድ እዚህ ጋር ብታስገቡ negative እዚህ ጋር ብታስገቡ. The second situation, first derivative 0 የሚያደርጉ የሲ ዋጋዎች እነማን ናቸው? So let's make it 0. ይሄን 0 ስታደርጉት over 1 አለ ክሪስ ክሮስ ታደርጋላችሁ ይሄኛው ነው ማለት ነው. Okay? So that will be 8 into 1 minus x squared over radical of course is equal to 0 means crisscross ታደርጋላችሁ ይሄ ከዚህ ጋር ያው 0 ነው this. So that will be what 8 into 1 minus x squared is equal to 0. So ይሄንን 0 የሚያደርግልን ነው የምንፈልገው over 8 it is. So 1 minus 2x squared is equal to 0. Negative 2x squared is equal to እዚህ ጋር ታመጣላችሁ negative 1. So over negative 2 over negative 2, this will be cancelled down. Negative tafan. So that will give you what? X squared is equal to 1 over 2. So taking square root both sides, grade 9, right? አሁን እንዳለ እንሰራው የዘጠነኛ ክፍል እና የአስረኛ ክፍል some of them. X squared is equal to 1 over 2 ማለት taking square root both sides. So if you take square root both sides, then you will get x is equal to plus or minus of radical of 1 over 2. So x is equal to plus or minus of means yeah, radical of 1 is 1. So 1 over radical 2 or negative 1 over radical 2. If you rationalize them, 1 over radical 2 and negative 1 over radical 2 rationalize it. So when you are rationalizing them, so x is equal to radical 2 over 2 or negative radical 2 over what? 2 ናቸው. Okay? Rationalize ታደርጉታላችሁ. ይሄንን radical 2 over 2 radical 2 over 2 ማባዛት grade 9, right? So the second criteria number, the second critical numbers are what? This. So the numbers look plus or minus of radical 2 over 2 and plus or minus of 1 ቅድም ያገኘናቸው እዛ are what? Critical what? Numbers ናቸው ማለት. So they are critical numbers. ስለዚህ ምንድነው የምታደርጉት? First derivative doesn't exist የሚያደርገው እዚህ ጋር 0 የሚያደርጉ ቁጥሮች በሙሉ first derivative doesn't exist ነው የሚያደርጉት እነሱን እንፈልጋለን። Secondary ደግሞ ይሄ ኤክስፕሬሽን ይሄኛው first derivative 0 የሚያደርጉ ክሪስ ክሮስ አድርገን ከላይ ያለው እንዲያረግን እንፈልጋለን. which is almost ኢኩዌሽኖችን አሬንጅ ማድረግ ነው እንጂ እንዳለ የዘጠነኛ ክፍል ነው. እስቲ እናንተ ደግሞ ይሄንን ስሩ. right? It is also from your exercise. F is equal to 2x squared over 1 minus x squared. የዚህን critical number ፈልጉ if of x is equal to 2x squared over 1 minus x squared የዚህን critical numberዎቹ derivate ታደርጋላችሁ ከዛ critical number if of x is equal to 2x squared over what 1 minus x squared good